Have you ever felt like you're just wired differently? Like the very things that make you you, that deep sensitivity, that constant itch for something more, or those seasons where you feel totally alone, are actually problems you need to fix? It's easy to look at the struggles and closed doors in your life and think, what am I doing wrong? But what if they aren't flaws at all? What if they're actually the fingerprints of God on your life, setting you apart for a purpose so big it requires a different kind of training? Stick with me, because we're about to explore 5 traits that most people overlook, but that just might be signs of what God considers true greatness. First up is something the world might call being overly emotional or too sensitive. You just feel things on a deeper level, the pain in a room, the vibe someone gives off, the unspoken hurt of a friend. Honestly, sometimes it can feel like a heavy burden to carry. But from God's perspective, this isn't a flaw. It's a finely tuned spiritual radar. It's the Holy Spirit giving you a heightened awareness, helping you hear His quiet whispers and notice the needs that others miss. This kind of sensitivity is a gift that mirrors the heart of Jesus, who was moved with compassion for the people around Him. It's the engine for real, Christ-like service. So when you feel that nudge to pray for someone or offer an encouraging word, that's not you being too emotional. That's you operating in a divine strength God Himself has given you. The second trait is a sense of restlessness. Do you find it almost impossible to get comfortable with the status quo? Does a normal, settled life just feel off to you? While everyone else seems content to coast, you feel this constant pull toward more. Not more stuff, but more meaning, more impact, more of God. This isn't you being ungrateful. In fact, it might just be a holy discontent placed in your spirit by God. It's a spiritual agitation meant to keep you from settling for anything less than the calling on your life. Think about Abraham. His story of greatness started with a restlessness that led him to leave his comfortable home for a land he'd never even seen. God can use that spiritual stirring to point you toward the unique problems He created you to solve. It's like St. Augustine said, our hearts are restless until they rest in God and His ultimate plan for us. This third one is something many of us dread, seasons of profound isolation. Maybe you've been betrayed, friendships have fizzled out, or you're simply in a time of life where you feel completely alone and misunderstood. In those moments, it's so easy to think you've been forgotten or rejected. But what if it's not rejection? What if it's separation for preparation? If you look through the scriptures, you see a pattern. God often isolates the very people He plans to elevate. Joseph was cut off from his family and thrown in prison before he rose to lead a nation. David was isolated in the wilderness, on the run for his life. But that's where God shaped him from a shepherd boy into a king. Jesus Himself was led into the wilderness to prepare for His ministry. If you feel alone right now, take heart. It's often in the quiet, separated places that God does His most profound work, building your character for the assignment He is waiting for you. Number 4 can feel less like a blessing and more like a curse, a pattern of relentless trials. Does it ever seem like your road has been tougher than everyone else's? You climb one mountain just to find another one waiting, and you're left wondering if you're being punished. But God's perspective is completely different. This isn't punishment, it's refining. The book of James tells us to consider it pure joy when we face all kinds of trials, because the testing of our faith develops perseverance. And perseverance has to finish its work so we can become mature and complete, not lacking anything. God is often more interested in your character than your comfort. He allows these trials to build a spiritual strength in you that you couldn't get any other way. Pressure makes diamonds, and fire purifies gold. Your struggles could be evidence that God sees you as worthy of the refining process, preparing you to carry the weight of glory He has in store for you. Finally, the 5th trait is one the world might label as stubbornness. But what if it's really stubborn integrity? Are you someone who refuses to compromise on your core beliefs, even when it's unpopular? Do you stand up for what's right when it would be so much easier to just stay quiet and go with the flow? To some, you might seem rigid or inflexible, but this isn't just being stubborn for the sake of it. It's holy conviction. It's unwavering faith. In a world that changes its values with the seasons, God is looking for people who will be an anchor. Think of Daniel. He made up his mind not to defile himself with the king's food, a decision that could have cost him everything. Later, he kept praying to God, even when it meant being thrown into a den of lions. His refusal to compromise was the very thing that showed the power of his God to an entire kingdom. Your unbending commitment to God's truth isn't a character flaw. It's the foundation of your strength. So, what if you stopped looking at these 5 things, your deep sensitivity, your divine restlessness, your seasons of isolation, your relentless trials, and your stubborn integrity, as weaknesses to overcome? What if you started to see them for what they could be? The marks of a divine calling. The very tools God is using to shape you, strengthen you, and set you apart for a purpose that is so much bigger than you can imagine. Everything you've walked through has not been for nothing. It has all been part of the process, preparing you for greatness. Embrace who God made you to be. Thank Him for it, and start walking boldly into the amazing purpose He has just for you.